Why are you looking at me like that? When I say action, you're gonna backwards flip straight into a double roundhouse kick. Okay? Action! Where are you going? That's no backwards flip. He's swearing away! What is going
Did this come as a surprise to any of you out there? It's been eating away at me to make some kind of video about Ninja Turtles because, believe it or not, I'm a big fan of the half-shelled heroes. Most people get into Turtles at a young age, and while I may have had a passing interest in my early youth, like watching an episode of the 4Kids Turtles now and then, playing the NES game, I wasn't a true turtle freak until the 2012 series came out, well into my late teens, early 20s. That show is one of my favorite cartoons of the 2010s. Dare I say it's one of my favorites of all time. It also helps that there was lots of other Turtles media to help fuel my fandom. Canada's Teletoon Retro was airing the 87 series, I had the first film on tape before I was even born, and the Michael Bay movies were the new hotness too, which, you know, aren't perfect, but I found to be good fun. As the 2012 show was closing out, Nick was quick to announce a successor with Rise of the TMNT, and naturally, everyone was skeptical. Maybe it was because I was still in my 2012 phase, but even I found some of the news about it shocking. Leo wasn't the leader anymore, Splinter was lazy, the Turtles are using different weapons. This change-up seemed pretty radical and not in the usual Turtles way, but this always happens. When something gets rebooted, the first thing that makes the rounds is a resounding, "Oh no." You should have seen how freaked out people were when the 2012 show got announced. Oh, CG Turtles on Nickelodeon? April's a teen? They say Booyakasha, not Cowabunga? Oh god, what have they done? I heard voice actor and Turtle veteran Rob Paulson put it best when he talked about Rise on his podcast, as he was the show's voice director. He said nobody spends $1 million on something to make a piece of crap on purpose, and he's totally right. After I let it all sink in, I was more than willing to give Rise a chance, and though the first few episodes didn't hook me, again, this isn't anything new. Think of some of your favorite shows and I'm sure you'll say, yeah, it was good, but when it hit insert time period here, that's when it all clicked. Or, oh man, remember this guy early on? He's completely different now. 2012 Turtles didn't grab me until late season 1, early season 2, so I knew I had to ride this out. I also had to remember that change is the name of the game with this franchise, a part of its DNA if you will. Every version of Turtles has something to call their own, and Rise was no different in doing things different. For one, the fact each brother is a different turtle species is such a cool idea, I'm surprised it hasn't been done earlier. You can do so much with all their different attributes, and turtles are some of my favorite animals, so I'm all for the Terrapin representation. Even cooler is how they went against the grain a bit with the usual turtle templates. You know, Leo's the leader, Donnie's the nerd, Raph's a hothead, Mikey's a goof. Of course, their personalities don't stop there, and a lot has been done with them over the years, but they thought outside the box even more. Also, from this point on, there's spoilers abound, so if you haven't seen Rise, go do that and then come back. I'll be waiting. I want to talk about Raphael first, because he had a lot of eyes on him from the start. This Raph might be my favorite so far. He's usually the tough guy with a temper, and while this one's still a bruiser, he's nowhere near as angry as other versions. He's kind, supportive, has tons of enthusiasm, all around a ton of fun. Other versions of Raph were shown to have a soft side, but Rise Raphael is more than open about his emotions. He'd never threaten to beat you up if you knew of his love for cute animals. Also, he gets really weird when left alone for long enough. He reminds me a lot of Murray from the Sly Cooper series, the big tough guy with an even bigger heart. And we were all worried about him being leader, but it wasn't long before I was totally on board with the idea. Though he struggles at times, he tries his best to come up with plans and is always looking out for his younger brothers. I was so okay with him being leader that when the role went to a certain someone in the final seconds of the finale, I was upset. On to Donnie, he's usually the tech nerd, but here he's also a smart aleck. He's kind of reminiscent of 80s Raphael, having tons of dry quips and snarky jokes. He always gets a big laugh out of me.
He's gonna expose us all to New York just for money?
We don't have any money and we get by just fine.
Yeah, we are poor as dirt.
Mikey's still that wide-eyed free spirit we all know, and seeing Leo as something other than a leader was jarring at first, but after some time passed, I didn't care. This Leo was still a strategist, but he was much more fun. A writer who worked on 2012 and Rise mentioned how hard it was to write fun stuff for Leo in the last show because his biggest trait was leader. The switch-up opened new avenues for Leo and Raph, and as a writer, you always want to take risks and try new things. I gotta respect that, especially given this risk paid off. Then there's April. Oh, I love April. She's such a go-getter, always ready to jump into action, and again, it's refreshing how she knows the turtles from the get-go. It took a minute to get a feel for her, but she truly had me by the Gumbus episode. When everyone else was terrified of the ghost in the store, there she was, laughing and smiling while running for her life, and later taking the ghost on herself with nothing but a makeshift bow and arrow. And last but not least, Splinter. When everyone first saw him, they thought he was the worst Splinter by far, and yeah, I wasn't big on his design or motives at first, but there was a part of me that said they're gonna do something with him. And when that day came, he instantly became one of my favorite Splinters. Someone please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks Lujitsu looks like a young Master Roshi. This is one of the most creative and fun spins on Splinter we've gotten, and since his DNA is part of the Turtles, this is the first time he's their actual biological father. At the very least, it's the first time I saw the idea put on screen, and I geeked out for a good hour when I made the connection. I apologize if I'm the millionth person to say this, but Rise excelled in style. No exaggeration, this is one of the most colorful, stylized, beautifully animated cartoons I have seen, period. And what really wowed me was the consistency. I can't think of one episode that didn't have something to show off in some area. Even as I was getting used to the show, I was still amazed at the backgrounds and little details all over the place. I love how when characters are in the distance, they break down into simpler shapes, like the turtles' legs becoming giant triangles. It all reminds me of My Life as a Teenage Robot, another Nick show with a lot of style. For me, it all came to a head with the episode Evil League of Mutants. It absolutely floored me. Never thought the Turtles would give us John Cena singing to the tune of Modern Nation General, and the fight against Draxum's gang had me speechless. The bit that always stands out in my mind was when Donnie fought Hypnopotamus and did that crazy ladder stuff and all that swimming through the air. My lord. If I could be so bold, I'd like to go over Rise's lineup of mutants and villains. I am amazed how Turtles continues to make characters that are just cool right out the door. Alongside regular mutants, they even brought in yokai, something teased in other series, but Rise welcomes it with open arms. Big Mama's the big takeaway, and some of my favorite mutants include Hypnopotamus, Meat Sweats, Ghost Bear. Let me just talk about Ghost Bear right quick. I couldn't believe he was voiced by the creator of El Tigre, Jorge Gutierrez. And then Snow Day happened and he became an actual Ghost Bear? Like, what the heck, dude? That's awesome! The Foot Clan were cool, but anytime the Foot Recruit was on screen, she made me smile. Her little exchange with Raph in the train episode, I've never seen someone do that with the let's do this gesture, and it cracked me up. And for those who have seen the finale, yeah, I thought what they did with her was awesome too. And let's not forget Baron Draxum. He was great in season 1, but he really grew on me after he lost his powers and had to live among people. At first I thought he was only pretending to be good to double-cross the Turtles later on, but he genuinely changes by the end, and I was happy to see him become part of the crew and second father to the Turtles. Roger Craig Smith also did an excellent job voicing him after Cena left, and honestly I say it should have been Roger from the start, but you know, star power and all that. At its core, one of the biggest themes of Ninja Turtles is family, and this show nails this aspect too. It's always great seeing the main crew interact with each other, and everyone feels like they're on equal footing. No one gets singled out as a punching bag or left out of the action, and they're there for each other at the drop of a hat. And man, do they ever bring the laughs. All the actors bring their A game, but I want to give a big shout out to Raph's actor Omar Miller. I never heard of him before Rise, but he totally owns the role. So for those who might not know, right now you might be asking, alright dude, I think you're building up to something. What happened to this show? Well, I'm glad you asked, because now we go over how it just ended. Oh lord, a 40-episode show that looked beautiful and wanted to tell more stories? This is Wander Over Yonder all over again. My heart can't keep going through this anymore. It came as a shock when in early 2020, Rise moved to Nicktoons in the States, basically a death sentence for any show. And it was an even bigger shock when the finale dropped out of nowhere. I had no clue until people started saying things online and I went, over? What do you mean it's over? Season 2 was originally 26 episodes, but when the finale came out, that number was cut in half. One of Rise's writers said they had to squeeze 3 seasons worth of story into a 44-minute finale. A finale which was done in only 6 weeks. Gotta say, with that kind of time crunch, they did pretty good, and that final battle was awesome, but there was a part of me that kept saying, man, I can almost hear these guys screaming, we need more time! There are still so many loose ends that have yet to be tied up too. What happened to this villain? Where did this guy go? Are these characters dead? The world may never know. I didn't think a series from such a juggernaut franchise would be in any immediate danger, and why would I? Every other Turtles cartoon aired for at least 5 years and had episode counts well over 100. I figured the Rise train would have gone for at least another couple seasons, but I guess not. Now, while Nickelodeon may not have been too kind to Rise, Canada's YTV treated it a little better. Also, we air credits in their own segment, not as an episode is ending. That's really obnoxious, America. Sorry, where was I? The channel did a ton of fun promos for it and had themed days like Pizza Day and World Turtle Day. In the lead up to Rise, YTV aired episodes of the 2012 series every Wednesday in August, with Rise premiering the final week, calling it Half Shell Hump Day. And they also made these bumpers with real-life turtles that are just the most charming things ever.
Okay, Larry, keep rising. You're rising up, just like the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's symbolic. The kids love it.
For its first year and a bit, Rise aired consistently on weekends and even showed up in the zone from time to time before it disappeared from the schedule. Then it came back for its second season at a 3:30 time slot on Fridays, which, you know, could be better, could be worse. After the finale, it was promptly replaced with a SpongeBob rerun. Big shocker. Man, if you told me when Rise came out I'd be screaming my love for it to the rooftops 2 years later, I might have believed you, but I'd still be shocked. Even when some counted it out, it wasn't afraid to be different, and that also reflects in the show's own world. What was that phrase the Turtles coined? We be we? Yeah, that's more than appropriate. Shows like these are one in a million, but frankly, I don't think this is the last we'll see of Rise. As I record this, we still have a movie coming out, and others are finally starting to take notice of what they slept on. We've still got a chance here, so show your support for Rise. In Canada, I've seen it on Netflix and our version of Nick, and I hope it shows up in other places soon. Whatever happens, Rise is more than worthy of the Ninja Turtles name, and of course, a great show on its own. I know there's gonna be more Turtles stuff until the end of time, but I hope it's not too long before these mad dogs rise again. Yeah, I had to make the joke. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, feel free to give this video a like, share with a friend, subscribe, check out my social media pages, Patreon page, yada yada yada. You know the drill by now. All that good stuff I always ramble on about at the end. So tell me, if you've seen Rise, what do you think about it? What's your favorite episode, your favorite fight scene, your favorite new character, your favorite interpretation of an old one? Just go on about it in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And while you're here, feel free to take a look at some of the stuff I got on screen. I really enjoyed making them. Hopefully you guys will enjoy watching them. And with all that said, I will see you all next time. Later!